Hello, farm folks. Willie Vogt here. Ever dreamed of seeing the absolute cutting edge of agriculture? The kind of tech that makes you say, wow, the future is now. I'm talking about Agritechnica in Hanover, Germany, the world's biggest, most amazing farm show. For years, you've told me you wished you could go, and guess what? Now you can. I'm leading an exclusive tour to Agritechnica in November 2025, and I'd love for you to join me. We're talking 3 full days immersed in the latest machinery, the smartest innovations, and global farming practices you won't see anywhere else. Imagine getting a sneak peek at the technology that'll be shaping your farm in the years to come. Plus, we'll celebrate International Farmers Day right at the show. We're going to visit working German farms and even check out the incredible Volkswagen facility, and we'll finish up with a trip to Berlin seeing some historic sites. Spaces are filling up fast, so don't wait. Visit agtoursusa.com/agritechnica. That's agtoursusa.com/agritechnica. See you there.
Welcome to North American Ag Spotlight. I'm Chrissy Wozniak. I wish my guest were here this week under different circumstances. Unfortunately, she's in the fight of her life and the lives of 400 ostriches in her family's care. In the world of agriculture, we often hear stories of resilience, innovation, and deep connections that people have with the animals that they raise, but sometimes those stories take a heartbreaking turn, and one that calls for awareness, action, and support from the broader community. Today, I'm bringing you a story out of British Columbia, Canada, that highlights not only the devastating impact of how avian flu is being handled in Canada, also the US, but also the potential for groundbreaking scientific research that could change the way we understand and combat the disease. The family-owned ostrich farm, which has been working on antibody research with the Kyoto Prefectural University, is now facing an unimaginable crisis, despite the majority of their birds showing strong resistance and antibodies to the virus. Government regulations have ordered the culling of over 400 ostriches, some of which have lived for decades and continue to thrive even in the face of this outbreak. And this isn't just about one farm. It's about the potential to shift the way we handle avian flu in Canada and the US. The role of science in disease mitigation and the fight to protect animals that are not only beloved, but also hold a critical value in ongoing research. So joining me today is someone who is on the front lines of this urgent battle, fighting to save these remarkable birds and preserve the future of this vital work. Please welcome Katie Pasitney from Universal Ostrich. Thank you so much for joining me today, Katie.
Thank you for having me and helping us get the urgent message out there, because we are working with seconds, not minutes in this situation. So I appreciate the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm happy to spread the word. I'll give a little bit for any of the listeners who haven't really been following the avian flu over the last few years. And I'm sure a lot of listeners have heard me tell this story a few times. But last year I was at USDA in Washington D.C. with our group American Agri Women, and we got to visit with someone, and they were giving us an update on bird flu. And what she explained is that when a chicken, and I think everybody knows this by now, but I'm just going to go through it. But when one chicken tests positive, all millions of chickens, every single one of them is culled. And one of our questions to that woman at USDA was, well, how is this being handled in nature? And she said, well, it's spread by ducks as they're migrating back and forth. And we said, well, what's the plan for the ducks? And they said, natural immunity. That the ones that are susceptible will die, and they will breed this out, and we just have to wait it out. So the natural next question is, okay, well, in a farm, that if the virus goes through, there's going to be a certain percentage that remain alive, and then those ones will have their offspring. So why aren't we building resistant flocks? And the answer was, we use stamp out. And that is the answer. I'm hoping under the new administration that this stops, and I will definitely give an update after our visit to USDA in June. But anyway, I'm going to turn it over to you, Katie. Let's start with your background, why you have this ostrich farm, and then just tell your story.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. So we've been we're raising ostriches for 35 years. My mom, it was started with my grandparents, actually, a little bit of further backstory. So my grandparents got into it. My grandfather was the president of the Alberta Ostrich Association in Alberta, and he, when they got out of it, we had still fallen in love with them. The market, they kind of came as a novelty bird with no market. So the market really quickly burst. And a lot of people that were in it got out of it. And at that time, my mom saw a great opportunity because she saw that these animals just held a lot of really beautiful healing qualities. Their oil, their meat for diabetics. There just so much of this animal was really, it was a golden opportunity. So we've been in it for 35 years. We've been in Edgewood for about 25 years, Edgewood, British Columbia, Canada. We in 2020, so this is a little bit of the backstory because we had the symptoms that we have right now. We had in 2024, mid-December is when this all started with Canadian Food Inspection Agency. So when we had symptoms in December of 2024, we were not too alarmed because we had these exact same symptoms in 2020. In 2020, we did the appropriate the protocols. We called our vet. The vet did a gold standard sample, which is a tissue sample, not a PCR test. And that tissue sample came back positive for high amounts of Pseudomonas bacteria. So at that time, we were a herd of about 300. We lost about 10. We had our own protocols in place, as I'm sure, any farmer would know. When you have a large amount of animals, you're always worrying about their animal husbandry and care. And if one is sick, you're always isolating them and caring for them and creating your own quarantine behavior. And so here in December, we started thinking, like these symptoms absolutely resemble the ones back in 2020, so that we must have Pseudomonas back on our property. And this kind of correlated with the time that we had about 300 to 500 mallard ducks drop into our farm and decide that they kind of wanted to just take house there because there's grains left over on the ground. And it was an abnormally warmer winter. So we phoned our vet. This is mid-December 2024. Our vet said that there was a message from the receptionist there that he would just went on holidays because it was Christmas, but he would be in touch with us right away. And we were going to get the tissue sample taken, and then at the same time, we've already started our due diligence with our quarantining measures ourselves and cleaning their bowls and separating any that looked sick. And before our vet could get a hold of us, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency called our farm with an anonymous tip that they were sure that we have avian influenza. So that was a little bit alarming in itself. When they said avian influenza, it was shocking to us because avian influenza has not been found in ostriches in Canada ever before, nor have we ever had a problem with it. And so we started explaining the symptoms that we were having on the farm to Canadian Food Inspection Agency, and they agreed that this does not sound like avian influenza. If there was ostriches that would be sick, and we had a bunch that were sick getting better. Yes, we had fatalities, but we had fatalities in 2020. And so we explained to them the symptoms, that we had a bunch of them that had gotten sick, but now they're recovering. And they said, yes, no, this doesn't sound like avian influenza, because in a commercial poultry facility, you would be having 20 or 30,000 dead in 24 to 36 hours or more. More chickens than that would even die overnight. But this again is in a commercial poultry situation where they're housed inside, they're touching wing to wing, they're circulating, fan the spring, they're kind of in an enclosed space. But our ostriches are outside. So they had, I believe too, you have that it's a benefit to being outside and having that natural air and exposed. And but I guess it kind of didn't work in our favor because we do believe that this was brought by the mallard ducks, which we all know that there is a gene of gain of function and a lab in Ohio that was testing and working with mallard ducks. So this has all come to light now. But so they explained to us, hey, do you mind if we can come to the farm and take a couple tests for avian influenza? And we said, absolutely, no problem. But they requested 2 deceased animals. So they said, once you have 2 deceased, we will come and test the birds. And so we phoned them when we had 2 dead ostriches from their symptoms, and they came out. And these animals, though, laid on the ground for about 16 to 18 hours before they even took the test. So you don't know how were they compromised? Did something bacteria or something get in, was something around them, or their environmental, what happened after? But they laid there for 16 to 18 hours. They came out. They proceeded to take 2 PCR tests off each animal, 1 oral and 1 rectal off each animal. And at the same time, we asked, hey, would it be possible for us to take some of these tests, and can we test one whole side of our farm that has never had a symptom? We have not had one dead. They are doing amazing. They haven't skipped a beat since whatever's happening here. Can we test our healthy ones? And could we test even the ones that have symptoms? And they said that no, sorry, that's not possible. So they denied our requests for more of a control group study, and to actually look at everybody rather than just picking the ones that were dead. Because I mean, you're almost right. They had a narrative already. If you're going to test 2 dead animals, there's going to be something there, but you don't know what it's going to be. So they denied us the testing. Why this was important to us was because the one whole side of the farm that had not ever been sick from whatever this is in December of 2024, one whole side of our farm that has never been sick, no deaths, were all the animals that were all on our farm 2020 prior. So it was kind of making sense that whatever we have now, all of our more than half of our farm has already been exposed to, and they're not being affected by it. But this was denied by Canadian Food Inspection Agency. So they go away, they come back. Just a little explanation of our area too, where we live, because we're geographically quarantined almost in ourselves because we're 135 kilometers away from a major city. So these tests they left our farm at about 3:00 in the afternoon, got all the way back to Abbotsford, British Columbia. And we got a phone call by as early as 2:00 the next day saying we tested positive for H5N1 and our farm was slated to be culled. And so we started panicking and going through all the going over our research. So this takes us to who we are. And we are not a commercial poultry facility. We are not for consumption. We don't sell our meat. We don't sell our eggs. In the last 3 years, now 3.5 years, we've been a research facility that has been working solely on the robust antibodies of an ostrich. And these are animals that have survived on this planet for the earliest Struthio fossil, which is an ostrich fossil, is 21 million years ago. So these animals have survived on our planet a long time. And I think there's something to learn here. So my mom, she found a gentleman. They found a gentleman in Japan, Kyoto, Japan. His name is Dr. Tsukamoto. He's also known as Dr. Ostrich in Japan because he has been working on this for years, and with the knowledge of how important an ostrich can be to our humanity in the future. And they started working with his program and doing inoculating, which is an antigen. So bringing in an antigen, injecting it into our ostriches. This is not a vaccination. This is not you have to be so careful with those words, but this is just, it is virus trace particles that are dead. They're no threat, but what it does is it just triggers their immune system to just like if we're exposed to some particles, we don't even know what we've been exposed to, but our body starts to generate antibodies. Um, and the ostriches within 4 weeks, so you could inject them with an antigen for COVID-19 and or whatever virus sequence you might have, or a sequence of that. I always have to be careful with that too, because I know some people are like, well, viruses don't exist. Some people, there's all these sides to it. So, we're just working with what we can see, our data that's proven, what we know works. They get inoculated, and within 4 weeks, that those robust antibodies come down into the ostrich's egg and into the egg yolk. So from there, there's a patented process that Dr. Tsukamoto has that we have now, and you would extract those antibodies from the ostrich egg, and with those antibodies, you can create nutraceuticals. So you could create lozenges, you could create nasal sprays, you could do different things where now we're just building up our immune system with the newest, whatever is of threat at the time, you could be treating your family with. So,
And an ostrich egg is huge compared to a chicken egg. So I'm
yeah.
assuming you need a lot less.
Yeah, so 24, so just the egg size is 24 chicken eggs are in one ostrich egg. But when we're talking about antibodies, one ostrich egg can have up to 100 chicken eggs worth of antibodies
Wow.
in just one egg. So we use, countries are using chicken antibodies all over the world. So this is just a way bigger egg, way bigger opportunity, and way more robust antibodies. One ostrich egg is equivalent to the blood of 800 rabbits worth of antibodies. So those
Wow.
those rabbits unfortunately have to get processed and to be able to use their blood for their antibodies. So there's no animal harm in using our research as well, which is fascinating because we're major animal lovers. So we would love the opportunity just to give them the best life ever and try and get them to lay as many eggs, and that would be nobody's hurt in the process. Um, so we started, there was some interest out of a lab in Quebec that was ran by chicken supporter, I guess government funding, like chicken government funding. And he said, absolutely, I'm really interested in just doing a test on one of your eggs or a couple of your eggs and look at the antibodies. So we sent him the eggs, and he started to do some research on the eggs, and he came back to us with, he said, if all of your ostrich eggs are like this is groundbreaking. This is a game changer. And then he started to do some more research and science on using our antibodies, the COVID-19 antibodies, to to see how we could treat COVID-19, the COVID-19 sequence, then the variant, all variants. So he came back to us with that, with our proof in our studies showing, oh my gosh, your antibodies can actually neutralize the COVID-19 variants. And so we were ecstatic. We thought, this is fantastic. This is perfect for the world. This is great for humanity. We are doing something good. Feels amazing. No later than, I think it was like a week later, his whole lab got bought out, and he signed a non-disclosure agreement and phoned us and said, sorry, I can't talk to you guys anymore. So you kind of know, you start to think that obviously you're onto something, because the wrong people don't want to hear it. Whereas, all of us that would love to hear it don't even get the opportunity to. And then from there, we just kept going with our program, researching the antibodies, and we did reach out. My mom, God bless her soul, she's such a wonderful lady, but you want to trust your government. And my mom would go to the government, just letting them know about our amazing program and what we're working with and how this could help humanity. Well, not too long after, we get this anonymous tip that they're sure that we have avian influenza. So we were put on quarantine on the 31st That was 91 days ago. We've been on quarantine. We're 76 days, no symptomatic deaths. Sorry, I'm on a farm. We're 76 days on no symptomatic deaths, happy, healthy animals. Everybody has their herd immunity, which you would expect. Not one of our older ostriches from 2020 prior have still, none of them have gotten ill, none of them have gotten sick,
That's
but
amazing.
they just refuse, absolutely refuse to retest any of our animals, to to even look at our research. On January 2nd, after we had been put on quarantine, on January 2nd, they called for a Zoom meeting, but with a whole bunch of head officials, vets, Canadian Food Inspection Agency top people. And they said, no, we're really interested in your research, actually. And then so my mom for 5.5 hours bled her soul out of just intellect property, and they wanted our business plan, and they wanted to know who we've talked to, all of our vets, all the research. And at both the 5 hour mark, my mom said, have you already decided that you're killing our animals and you're just taking our information? And they said, no, we're really interested in your information that you have. And now finding out through our court case that on December 30th, they already signed our kill order. So they weren't interested in our research, but they probed us and took a whole bunch of our intellect property. And I don't know, if that's for what reason. I know that we are a big threat to big pharma because their stamping out policy is stamping out natural immunity. And I hate when they say stamping out and then they stop, because the world needs to be more cautious that this stamping out policy is leading to stamping out natural immunity. And stamping out natural immunity is going to lead us into a catastrophic disaster as humanity. We will then solely be relying on vaccinations to survive. And everybody will need them. And I mean, what a dream for someone as big pharma. If everyone in the world needed to survive, they needed those vaccinations, sorry, just to survive, because we don't get it from our chicken eggs anymore. We're not getting it from our natural meat. We're not getting it from any of our natural processes. So it's been really alarming for that fight. After January 2nd, when we were done that Zoom call, January 2nd, we received a letter saying, congratulations, you qualify for rare genetics, which would help us become exempt. So we were super relieved. But by January 10th, then we get given an exemption package to fill out. In this exemption package, it directly states it is for chicken, geese, turkeys, and ducks. It doesn't list in this exemption package, based on commercial poultry, that anything to do with ostrich, emu, rhea, which are all ratites. They're in the ratite family. So this exemption package is solely created for commercial poultry farms. And we said to our caseworker, we can't fill this out properly because this is nothing to pertain. This isn't pertaining to us. This is nothing about us. We're a research facility. We are not enclosed. This has nothing to do with us. So we got told at the time, just fill it out, because if you don't, then you're automatically not compliant and you will not qualify for an exemption. So we just filled it out the best we could. And by golly, on January 10th, we get our destruction letter that we do not qualify for rare genetics anymore. So something happened between January 2nd and January 10th that we don't qualify for rare genetics anymore. And that by February 1st, we were supposed to have all of our ostriches killed by us and buried. And if we didn't do it by February 1st, they would bring in a third-party contractor killer to kill all of our animals. And if we didn't do it by our own hand, we wouldn't see compensation. But we would see compensation. And if they came in and had to do it, well, then we wouldn't see compensation because we would be not in compliance. On some of their visits, we've had alarming things that have happened, just like, and it's on video, where they've outright asked us, where do you store your COVID-19 antibodies? Why would you be asking us about our COVID-19 antibodies
Oh,
when
wow.
when you're at our farm for H5N1? So, um, they've been at our farm multiple times. They see our animals, they're alive, happy and healthy. My mom pleads with them and says, look at them. They have herd immunity. They're way safer and healthier, are safer and more of a benefit to the world alive than they are to be killed and us bringing in a whole bunch of 400 young ostriches, which have no immune system and
Right. Yeah,
they're
it's
they're
so
exposed.
obvious.
They're exposed to the mallard ducks again. So they're going to contract whatever is floating around, and they're all going to have to be killed again. So you start to connect all the dots and go, well, if the farmers all gave up, it benefits big pharma because they do want and Bill Gates and the people who want us to eat processed meat because farmers are only going to do that a couple times until they finally just say,
Well, that's it.
too much. Yeah. And as long as we
Yeah.
have migratory birds in the world, nowhere in the world will ever be avian influenza free. So how can we work on it? How can we work on stabilizing bringing a solution to the table? And that's what we keep pleading with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency is let us retest our animals. They have threatened us a $250,000 fine and or 6 months in jail if we test our own animals.
No.
It is so serious.
Oh,
It is a dictatorship of an organization that is one track minded on stamping out to just kill, 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 kill with no accountability for the consequences that are going to be follow this, which is a total breakdown in natural immunity, which is, that'll bring on zoonotic diseases, a breakdown in our ecosystems. We're talking about humanity is at risk if we keep going around the world and killing all animals that have an immune system, rather than searching for the ones that have the immune system and the survivors of a flock. If there's 5 chickens that survived out of 10,000, that in a barn, those 5 chickens should be treated like gold. They should be put in the
exactly.
most comfiest bedding. They should be made to try to get them to lay as many eggs as possible. We should be hatching their eggs. We should be using these animals as as our future because those are the ones that we
Exactly.
want to help protect our immune system as individuals. There's so much, and I know I try to always get it all in, but we are sitting with science here in Edgewood, British Columbia, Canada, that we have science that can revolutionize how we treat diseases and viruses. And the Canadian government wants it killed before the world even gets a chance to use it. We are
It's a
in an
crime.
It is a crime. It is a crime. It is absolutely a crime. And they're told solely relying on, they say, their trading partner policies, which is ran, it's governed by the World Health Organization, which is governed by the UN. And our trading partner policies are outdated. They have nothing in there that support animal or human or health. They're not looking at the future. They're just like they think stamping out and eradicating everything is going to be the answer. And we are setting ourselves up for a real world of hurt here. And we are running out of time again. We got our injunction at January 31st. That injunction won us the right to a judicial review. Our judicial review is on April 15th and 16th. We have
It's close.
lawyers working on this day and night. We are putting motions and written arguments into why this cull order should have never been signed in the first place. And we are trying to stand up for science and truth And we are trying to protect every other farm out there, because if they're just preoccupied with us right now, and once they're done with us, they're moving on to the next farm. But we need to stop them here. And that's what we're trying to be, is that roadblock and change policy for the world. Because if we don't stop it here, then there is no stopping them. It's now or never. And I think we just need to understand the severity of the situation, because their mandate is to test, quarantine, kill, compensate. They don't have help the farmer, no agricultural outlook on what that looks like to the damage that they're going to cause to livelihoods, to our agricultural sectors. And this is affecting every industry. So it's the beef, it's the dairy, it's the swine, it's our ostriches, it's our science, it's our poultry. And so I really want to put a plea out to every organization out there to please help us win this battle, because we are setting a precedence that can stop them from their overreach. And this is global. So if we can set a precedence here, we're directly working, and we can come help, like Mindy Patterson with the Cavalry Group. What a wonderful organization. It's just like that. Standing up, setting precedents, standing up for our agricultural rights, our property rights, our right to raise animals, and our right to have sustainable, healthy farms that produce quality nutrition for the world. And if that is stripped away from us, we're going to only be left with processed meat. And we need to stand up for that. So it's it's a lot, I know, but this judicial review is very important, because we need as much support as possible. Lawyers aren't free. Our bills are climbing fast, because that's the government wants to use up all your resources and see you fall, and that's how they win. So we are asking the world to keep watching, but please support us however which way you can, because we're trying to support everybody. And we're even looking at trying to set up a foundation where that money could go into a foundation. And then when we are done our legal fight here, then that money can go and then help the next farm and the next farm globally, and help fight the tyranny, because it's government overreach at its highest right now.
Yes, absolutely. So
Yeah.
where can people go to find out more, and then also to donate?
Yeah, you can go to saveourostriches.com. Is a great website. It's kind of got everything from the beginning, and early interviews and stuff right from the beginning. It also has the links for Go Give Send Go, GoFundMe, and an email on there for direct e-transfers. All that money right now is going towards just some food for the animals and legal costs, because we've been stripped away from making any income at the farm. Since we've been on quarantine, they blocked off. We're not allowed to sell creams and stuff from a year ago that we had a skincare line. And then we were selling, we were promoting people setting up satellite farms, because we're trying to create farms all around the world that could be part of this antibody program, that because we're going to need lots of antibodies. So all that was halted in sales and everything. So we have been slowly relying on donations and the supporters that are out there. It's, I don't, there's been so much that has happened, but it is so scary when your government is threatening you jail time to test your own animals. There has to be something to hide, because another really big piece that just came forward, we went and got our own blood tested, because we're not in the quarantine. And all of our blood, my mom's, mine, and her business partner, all of our blood came back positive for the H5N1. So or antibodies.
Yes,
So,
antibodies. Yes.
we have been exposed to it. We're all happy, healthy. We didn't die from symptoms or get hospitalized. I think it's very important that the world knows that our government is fear mongering, And I'm not going to say that someone's not going to get hospitalized with it, but people get hospitalized with the flu. So I just want to put into perspective here that I think that instead of just the mandate to kill, I think we need to start to test. We need to start to test our animals for antibodies. We need to start to protect our natural immunity. Otherwise, we're just going to turn on the TV, listen to how H5N1 is the next scariest, worst, most the detrimental thing to mankind, and all of our animals are at risk because they're outside with the migratory birds. So all outdoor animals, they've made it very clear that all outdoor animals are of a risk because they are exposed to migratory birds. So what are you going to do? Kill all the migratory birds? And that's they actually said that to us. Canadian Food Inspection Agency came in and sat at our table having coffee, and here we are, the most infected farm, having coffee,
Right.
eating muffins. And I said, "What are you going to do with the mallard ducks?" And they said, "Well, that's wildlife. What are you going to do? Kill all wildlife? That's absurd." And I was like, well, then killing
Exactly.
400 ostriches with nothing but research and science that are flightless, and they're in a quarantine, and there's only 2 people that are going in that's going to save humanity? Like, it's not. So we're fighting for testing
Nonsensical.
right now. We're fighting to be
Yes.
able to test our ostrich eggs, well, and ostrich egg from the quarantine zone right now, because we have a
Yeah.
scientist in Canada saying with 300 micrograms of that egg yolk, not of a threat to any public risk. No, nobody's going to be at risk here. I can prove that these animals are not shedding and that they're of no public health risk. But the Canadian Food Inspection Agency said absolutely not, that this would prohibit them from carrying out their mandate.
Wow. And tell me more about this process. I know it's difficult, but the killing process. They are expecting you to do it, and if you don't,
Yeah.
what happens?
Then they bring in a third party that they have to hire because this is not their area of expertise. So they're hiring someone to come into your farm and kill your animals with no ever hands-on. They don't know these animals. They don't understand these animals. It will cause mass panic in our ostriches. In our case, our ostriches are so used to my mom and her business partner. They know my mom can name them all. They all have names. They all have personalities. So they recognize my mom. They recognize us. They recognize her business partner. So you bring in a bunch of strangers that are going to try their best way because they've never killed an ostrich before. And they're going to come and try to kill almost 400 healthy ostriches that run 65 miles an hour. And rather than work with us and say, hey, no,
But then what happens with the bodies?
for us, they said that they were fine with burying this awful
Oh my
H5N1
gosh.
in our hayfield. They're like, as long as it's a
Ugh,
9-meter hole deep or 9-foot hole deep and 6 meters apart, it's you guys, yeah, you just dig a hole and then you would be burying all these carcasses. And it nothing makes sense. Like, so
yeah.
we have this most awful or the craziest strain of H5N1, and you're okay with us burying it all in our back in our hayfield. So I don't
Yes,
know
it's just
I don't know how they
unbelievable.
would them personally. They've outright asked us if we were to kill them, how would we do it
Oh,
humanely?
good. Oh, so
Yeah.
they don't know. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
oh
so
my
we've
gosh.
we've had leaked footage from their meetings where somebody said they were outright asking, they were thinking about putting bales in a square in a field and then running them into the square and shooting
Oh,
them. Like, these are healthy animals. I want to just keep like putting that picture out there. So I mean, they come to your farm with dairy cows. One dairy cow tests positive, and all of them have to die rather than testing them all, isolating them, keeping them, letting them run its course. The
yeah.
milk doesn't get sold. Help everybody, help the farms remain existent.
Yeah.
Don't eradicate them. So it is scary that you pose that risk. There was an article in CTV, and it was regarding the Sheely's farm. And the Sheely farm, they had a bunch of exotic birds, and they said all your birds have to be put down due to avian influenza. They were shocked. I don't know the backstory on this, if maybe one of theirs got sick. But they were told you can either watch your birds die a horrible disease and you're not going to get compensated, or you're going to allow us to come in and we will kill your animals for you and you'll get compensated. So this little family decides that I guess the best thing to do is to allow them to come in and kill their animals. Well, they came back to heads of their exotic birds left on the ground. One of their birds wasn't
Oh
even
my
fully
goodness.
dead. There was blood all over. This is a little family.
That's
I got goosebumps.
travesty.
And it does make me emotional, sorry, because
Oh,
you can only imagine these are the animals that you love. Even if you're a cattle rancher, you love your animals. You care about your animals. You want them to be strong. You want them to have good immunity. You want them to be able to go out there. And you want to be able to genuinely bring something good to the world, whether it's nutrition, whether it's research and science in a positive way. As animal owners and farmers, you take great pride in your animals. So to come home or just watch overnight somebody come in and eradicate, kill all your animals without any proper testing, relying on
yeah.
2 PCR tests, not taking into account any of our science and our truths, just because policy says that they have to. We are in a real problem. We have a problem globally, and we need to stand up because all of our agricultural systems, our farms, and our industries are at risk. And you guys see that more than anybody with the egg shortage or did. And you guys are moving in the right direction, at least, I don't, I know that Trump is just, and Bobby Kennedy is really trying to push for some really positive changes within your healthcare
Yeah.
system, in your health system. And I think it's now or never for us because Canada's trying to shield this opportunity from the world and kill it before the world gets to actually try to use this in our agricultural industries. We could use these antibodies in foggers in commercial poultry farms so that the commercial
Wow.
poultry flock are inhaling these antibodies. We could be treating them naturally with something that where we don't have to start just keep killing millions of animals.
Yeah.
We could treat these animals. We even said we could treat highly populated migratory bird zones by creating a fogging machine and putting food in there and trying to do large groups of them at once. Because even if a bunch
Yeah.
of them,
Imagine how amazing that could be. It's,
right? Yeah. And so we just want, we are seeking right now as much support as possible. Every dollar counts because unfortunately the lawyers need to be paid. We have really great lawyers really trying to work with us as much as they can. But we have raised over $60,000 since January 16th, which we've paid in legal fees. But we've had multiple court dates. We have an appeal that is lingering. They put in lots more of motions and just antics, and they've tried to fine us, and they are trying to. There's so many different things that have gone on, but we do have we have over about $100,000 in legal fees that are outstanding because this has been such an intricate, deep case, pulling on expertise in areas that the lawyer too had to educate himself because not a lot of lawyers wanted to touch this being such a high
yeah.
profile federal government case. So
Right.
yeah, it's like an
Yeah.
urgent plea to call to action for all of our farmers from the US and Canada that we all stand together united and stop the tyranny and stop the mass cullings and try to save our science that we have here
Yeah.
to
Yeah. And thank you for standing up. It takes so much bravery to put yourself in that public eye. and, draw a big, huge target on your backs. But thank you. Thank you from the US and through Canada. We need more people like you to stand up, and to everyone else who's out there listening, be sure to share this story. I know a lot of my podcasting friends were just trying to get her out and her story told. Share this story. And again, if you have the means, please donate to this cause. The As we've seen over the last 5 years, this government treachery has to stop.
Yeah.
There is not one bit of sense in anything you've said about this story. It
No.
makes no sense at all. We don't want it in Canada. We don't want it here. And yeah, it's just time to stand up and say no to this. So,
Mhm.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for telling your story. Thank you for not just rolling over and saying, and hiding what could be one of the greatest breakthroughs.
I know. Yeah. And
I
that's
am
why I
so
said,
sorry you're
like,
going through this.
I appreciate your sympathy and your support. It's been a long journey of every day trying to find the loophole. Sorry.
Yeah,
Trying to find the loophole that is going to allow us to use the research to better humanity and save the research and save the animals that could add so much benefit to the world. It's we need to save them. We need to save them, and we need to save the science. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, thank you, Katie, so much for joining me today. And
Thank you, Chrissy.
everybody's listening, all the links will be in the show notes as well. But yeah, thank you so much. And we will do our best to get this spread far and wide.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and thank you very much to your audience for listening.
Thank you. And keep us posted as we go on.
I
I
will.
definitely want you
Yes.
to come back on, and hopefully we have a good end to the story.
Yes, I will. I will let you know as the weeks that we're at 14 days till judicial review. So I will,
All right.
I'll keep you posted for sure.
Awesome. And yeah, to all of the listeners, the links are in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe, North American Egg Spotlight, Spotify, Apple, Amazon listen notes. If you prefer video, we're also on Rumble and Telegram. And if you like the episode, get out there and share it. Get this message spread. And thank you so much.
Thank you.